So I think it's interesting how the social justice warriors and intersectional feminists and all the little ilk seem to think that they can just tell everybody how it is. And I thought to myself, I've been doing these videos. I've been doing a podcast a couple of years. I've written articles. No one seems to read nor care. Shut up, phone. I don't attract people to my cause, if it will, because I'm just another voice in the ether. It doesn't help that YouTube is also pretty much squelched all efforts in growing whatsoever, especially when it comes to this particular genre. Because it speaks against their ideology, in particular Susan's ideology and anybody that basically is upper management there. I know this by their behaviors. It's pretty obvious that that's what it is. And it doesn't help that I can prove it, too. So I used to have steady growth, and then they changed their policies, and it went from steady growth to no growth. If I don't make a video every single day, I get 0 views. If I make a video nearly every day, I get maybe 5. If I search for the title of my own video, the direct title, I sift through almost 40 to 50 hits before I even get close to the direct title of my video and my channel. I don't even find myself if you were to search for that subject. That's how far buried I am, because I'm new, I'm underrated, I don't have a huge subscriber base, so people don't know who I am. That's the end of it. I mean, Susan and friends have basically made it into a position where those that have made it up past, let's say, 100,000 get heard. Those that do not will never. You're stuck. You're not moving. You're lucky to gain new followership just slightly. If you can get past 1,000 or 2, maybe you start picking up some momentum, but there's no fucking way. You're buried, especially in the genre that deals with this intersectional nonsense. But that's besides the point. I actually didn't want to ramble too on about that particular subject. It's just a little slight frustration. My solution is to network. I'm going to go through other people and get myself recognized by individuals with a higher outreach than me. And it works so far. It'll work again, I'm pretty sure. Thanks to Bering for being the first person to recognize and bring me on and promote me. I joined his Discord and started giving him money because of it. I mean, it only seemed fitting, right? He helped me, I help him. The irony of it is, he jumped on. I had double-digit followers. I jumped up 120, and it hasn't moved. So one splurge because somebody else noticed me senpai. So networking is my only option because clearly YouTube is working against its own creator base and not for its own creator base. All right, enough of that ramble. The reason why I brought up the social justice nonsense and these people being bullies in particular is because it reminds me of a few things, and I thought I'd bring some of my history into this a little bit. Maybe it'll shed a light on why I hate these people so much. One fundamental principle. I had this conversation with a dumbass not too long ago, and actually the subject came up again by the Hotep Jesus group. Hotep Jesus, actually, was the one that brought it up. And he pretty much said, white people can't say the N-word, period. You just can't. My response is, you do not get to tell me what I can and cannot say. It's not your position, it's not your right, and it's not your authority. You have zero authority over me, and if you think you do, you can go ahead and try to exert that authority on me, and I'll bust your ass. I'll pound you into the ground if you think you can assert authority on me. I recognize and I submit to certain authorities, especially when I know I've done wrong. For example, if I'm speeding, I'm going to pull over and do as the cop says. A, I don't want my ass kicked. B, he's armed. And if I fight back, he'll just shoot me. I could probably win the fight. I could probably get him disarmed. But now the entire freaking city police is on my ass. It's not just him anymore. Now I'm hunted. And now I've got even more charges for resisting arrest, assaulting an officer, all that fun stuff. You know, the same kind of shit that usually gets other people shot and then they bitch about it. That would be my situation. But aside from them, your average person has zero authority over me. I will recognize those people that have authority over me when I put myself into a position that puts me under those people, say being hired and then being subject to a boss. That is one position to where I am subject to one's authority because I've willingly submitted to said authority. However, I do not willingly submit to anyone that makes demands of me, including bosses. And I've told many a boss, and it's got me fired a few times, I'm not going to lie, but I've told many a boss, you don't get to boss me around like that. You can speak to me nicely, and you can give me some due respect, or you can kiss my ass. People give respect, they get respect. Those that are excellent bosses know this firsthand, that the trust relationship, as I like to call it, one of the fundamental bedrocks of all leadership, is the first thing they build, is that trust relationship, opening up vulnerability, allowing yourself to be vulnerable to the people that report to you, and vicariously they sometimes open up to you, and then you build a nice little trust relationship, and things flourish, and then you have a pretty cool, awesome working team. However, those that demand respect usually have a shit team, poor performance, and are all out douchebags and usually end up ruining everything around them. Case in point, look at every mainstream, I can't call them mainstream, I actually agree with Sticks and Hammer on this, every legacy, podunk, piece of trash media outlet today that has a bunch of assholes working for them, demanding respect, demanding that we respect them, demanding that they get deplatformed, calling them names and all sorts of shit. You know what these people are, and this is why it irks me to the most, is not only are they trying to exert authority over me, they're demanding of things of me that I'm not willing to submit to. The only other type of people that do this are bullies, and I hate bullies. So this brings me back to my little story. In junior high, I had several bullies. In elementary too, I had several bullies. I would run home from school every day, just about. There were a few days that I got away with not having to run home. But by and large, yeah, I got on the track team because I was fast as shit because I ran from these fuckers a lot. For two reasons. One, I didn't want to fight. And two, 6 to 10 against one, not exactly a fair fight. They learned I could probably hold my own against one or two of them, so they brought their friends. 6 against 1, not going to end well for me. And I just hated fighting. I'd cry, I was kind of a wuss. Actually, I was a big wuss back then. Until one of them pulled a knife on me. He slashed my tires on my bike so that I had to walk my bike home. So I started walking. I'm like, fuck you, I'm walking. Whatever. Leave me alone. Big old group started surrounding us because they knew he was starting shit. And he told the school that he's going to kick my ass. Then he pulled a knife. Somebody handed me an equalizer, lead bar to put in my hand and knock his face in with. Because they didn't like him either. They thought he was kind of a prick. I didn't take it. But what happened was I broke him in half. I kicked his ass. And then I went home. No one ever bothered me ever since then. Why? Because I made a demonstration. You do not get to tell me what I can and cannot say. You do not get to fucking order me around, and I'd had enough. I decided to stand up for myself for once, and that was the end of it. No one ever bothered me ever again once I stood up for myself. I went to a different school shortly thereafter. One bully tried to beat me up there. He couldn't land a punch on me and figured it out. Another one punched me in the face. He sucker punched me. He grabbed me by the shoulder, turned me around, and punched me right in the face. I noticed, and get this. This whole fight started because I had my feet outside my desk. I was sitting kind of bow-legged. And he stepped on my feet because he wanted to be a dick. So I said to him, I can walk on my own feet, thanks. And he goes, what'd you say to me? I was like, you heard me. I don't need you stepping on my feet. Don't do it again. So he waited until after class. He grabbed me by the shoulder, flipped me around, punched me in the face. And I bounced up against the lockers. And then I looked and I got ready to fight. And his hands were up. He was like this. He was like, ready to go? After he sucker punched me. And I didn't get laid out in one punch. So I noticed out of the corner of my eye, one of the teachers came out. And I knew if I put my hands up and just beat his ass, I'm getting in trouble. Because he didn't see the other kid hit me. He only heard something. So, I put my hands up and said, "You done?" And walked away. That kid got expelled. I didn't have to really fight. I didn't stand up. But kids like him, the kids I grew up with that think they're badass, like to pick on kids that are smaller, because I was smaller. I was a very small kid. I'm pretty freaking stocky now. But I was a teeny. I was about 100 pounds less than I am right now. I was a pretty small kid. Those type of guys remind me of the social justice warriors of today. Except the social justice warriors were their square little bitches that would always talk shit about you behind your back. Once you confronted them face to face, they hid in a corner. But the moment you disappeared, they'd go and talk some shit some more. That's the type of little bastards these are. They can't face you face to face unless they're in a mob. Antifa reminds me of the little mob motherfuckers that used to try to hunt me down and beat me up every day after school. That's why I don't like them. They're bullies. Every last fucking one of them. Bullies. Tyrants, dictators, they're also bullies. These little bastards, bullies. This is why they rub me the wrong way. This is why I don't like any of this ideology. You think you can make demands on me and get away with it? Go fuck yourself. You ain't gonna make me do shit. You got it wrong there, buddy. And you can tell the rest of the world has about had enough of that shit too. You can tell because a lot of people now are opposing it. You can tell because Trump got fucking elected. Thank you very much for being a giant prick, you stupid sons of bitches. I don't particularly like Trump, but guess what? Because he pisses you sons of bitches off so much, and because the Democrats have lost their goddamn minds, I'm voting for him in 2020. There, I've said it. I would have voted for Tulsi Gabbard, but then she showed a weak knee. No, I'm not playing with these weak knee politics. You put your goddamn foot down. There's nothing impeachable there. Ooh, that sounds like a plane that's about to wreck. Or it's a low-flying plane. Whatever. There's nothing impeachable there. So what do? Bend the knee anyways to these crazy motherfuckers. Why? Because you're trying to get the sympathy vote from the Democrats. Don't lean for those Democrats. The far right, they're the same fucking thing. The far left have taken over that party. Period. Nothing but social justice in there. When you see the DNC saying it's my job as a white woman to shut men up and shut white people up and let other voices come forward. Fuck you, racist. Fuck you, you racist. You're done. I've lost interest. I was a Democrat for a long time. I voted for Obama. I didn't give a shit that he was black, white, or whatever halfling that he was. What I cared about is what he was promising. It sounded like a good thing. Lo and behold, not so much. He tried to introduce some socialism. He tried to do some other shit. He killed a bunch of children. He bombed the fuck out of places. He said he'd put an end to the wars, but no, he continued them. Oh, I caught Osama bin Laden. No, you didn't. You got a Marine to do it for you, you jackwagon piece of shit. Guantanamo Bay was supposed to be closed for 8 years. He promised that. Never happened. I mean, all the shit that he promised, he didn't do. Voted no confidence at that point. I didn't vote for him the second time around. It's like, no, dude. You promised some shit the first 4 years. I understand Bush fucked some shit up because he's a crazy asshole too, but come on. I would go independent. But being independent is like castrating yourself. You're not allowed to vote for certain things. You're right down the middle. You have to pick a side in this fucking country. Unfortunately. It's not like the UK where they have 15 freaking groups that you can go with. Just which one sounds the closest to your ideals? Well, you got these parties. Well, we have a few, but none of them actually ever get loud enough to do anything. But anyways, I thought I'd do something a little bit different on this one and directly relate why I don't like these people. I'm pretty sure that other people have the similar opinion as mine, and they point out the arguments and they point out the stuff. But it really comes down to you don't get to tell me what I can and cannot say. And this is the other thing, just as a closing, since it was on the subject today, some dumbass says that genital preference is transphobia. As a lasting remark, and I might do a little bit bigger video on this later, Genital preference is sexual preference. You want biological difference, or you want the biological sameness. You're gay or you're not. Just because you have tits and a dick doesn't make you a woman. You don't get to decide you're a woman when you have a schlong hanging out your pants or dress, whatever the fuck you want. You look like a woman, you act like a woman, but if you still got your junk, not so much a woman. Post-op, maybe. Pre-op, not so much. Just saying. But I'm going to leave it there. I think I'm going to do a longer video on that one because it's the same concept. You're trying to tell me that I'm a transphobe for having sexual preference? Well, there's an argument that sounds a lot similar to it. And that's what I think I'm going to get into in the next video. But anyways, I'll leave it there. I thought I'd just lay it out why I'm doing this. Why I'm making videos. These people are bullies, and I'll stand up to bullies. I hate bullies. I hate all bullies. All of them. They made my life a living hell. I'm going to make theirs equally as sucky. I don't think they deserve an ounce of power for the shit they do to people. It's tyranny. It's a dictatorship. It's evil. You deserve nothing. So, I'll see you next time.
How dare you challenge me with your so-called kung fu? You don't have a chance.